Moving on to strategy 2. Remember, you only have 10 seconds to get ready before the microphone opens, and you then have to provide your answer. Swiftly evaluate and connect the ideas you have noted. So the challenging part of this strategy, 2, in terms of the next phase of this answer, is utilizing those 10 seconds effectively. What can you do in that time? Well, you need to try and think of a way that you can connect your ideas together mentally in order to progress with the speaking component of your test. You should not be using this time to write down more notes. You should be using the notes that you have taken down, hopefully effectively, and then moving forward with them into the speaking component. So let's now have a look at strategy 2 today. We've taken down our notes, we listened to the lecture. How can we progress to the next stage of our PTE retail lecture prompt? So remember, you will only have 10 seconds to gather your ideas and think about your speaking component after you have heard the lecture. The first part is finished. You've listened to the lecture, 30 to 40 seconds. You now have the buffer phase in the middle where you have 10 seconds to think about how you can organize those notes into your spoken response. It's not a lot of time. You should not try to add more notes at this stage. Instead, you should review what you already have and think about your method of presenting them in a logical way using a variety of connective and transition words. Some people may scramble to continue to take down notes, something they might have heard previously in the lecture, but they haven't put down. Forget about it. You should no longer be taking down your notes because more than likely you now have enough material to start giving your retail lecture. What you should be thinking about now is using that material you have and thinking about how you can deliver it in an effective, methodical, and logical manner using a variety of connective and transition words. So please keep that in mind. The listening part is done, the note-taking part is done. Now you're transitioning into the spoken component of this test, which is what you're being assessed on. So let's have a look at some transition and linking words that are commonly used at a high level of academic English. Hopefully we can utilize some of these in our responses to this test, because after all they are a great way to link our ideas together, especially in a very formal and academic nature. So I've assigned this handy little chart for you. Please have a look at some of the words that we can use here in terms of our transition and linking words. So if you look at the top left first, these are some phrases we can use to add to a point. They might be used mid-sentence or they might be used at the beginning of another sentence to talk about 2 points that support each other. The words are as follows: and, as well as, moreover, furthermore, in addition to, on top of that, another point is. These are very, very effective in linking together like for like statements and phrases that often convey the same meaning or support each other. If you want to sequence thoughts together from the first to the last, we can use the following phrases. First, firstly, first of all, to begin. Second, secondly. Third, next. Meanwhile, now, subsequently. So when we're linking our words together in terms of a sequence, we can use these phrases. The following phrases in the illustrating box are actually very effective at giving an example. So you might want to use some of these when you are utilizing a supporting point to back up one of your main points. They are, for example, such as, for instance, in the case of, as shown by, illustrated by, take, one example is. When we're comparing points that are also quite similar in terms of their nature, we can use the following comparing transition words. Similarly, likewise, as with, like, equally, in the same way. Qualifying. So maybe we're talking about something that's a bit more nuanced in terms of its nature. These are a little bit more complicated. So if we want to link something together that could be linked together, but it has to actually meet a certain set of criteria, we can use the following qualifying linking words. But, however, although, unless, except, apart from, as long as, if. Moving on to contrasting words, which are the exact opposite of adding. So we want to talk about a point that actually contradicts the previous point. We want to use some of these contrasting transition words and conjunctions. Whereas, alternatively, unlike, on the other hand, conversely, having said that, nevertheless, and however. If we also want to look at cause and effect, if something has directly affected something or caused another thing, we can talk about the relationship of those two ideas together using the following words: because of, as a result of, consequentially, therefore, thus, owing to, due to. Finally, if you have time to summarize a point, which might not be too relevant for retail lecture, but if you do get to a point where you have run out of information at the very end, what you should do instead of panicking is to give a summary in what you've said already. So you please use some of these words in order to start your summary sequence. In short, on the whole, in other words, on the whole, been said twice, sorry, overall, generally, in general, in brief. Finally, if we want to emphasize a point, there might be some information that we think is extra important, we can emphasize it using the following words. Above all, in particular, especially, significantly, indeed, and notably. A lot of transition words here. Don't be too concerned about using them all. As long as we can utilize at first maybe one or two words in each box effectively, that will be all that is needed for the spoken component, because you're not going to use too many of them. After all, it is only 40 seconds, but these words are also highly useful in being utilized in the written component of the test as well. So a good idea is to take some of these words, practice applying them. If we get used to applying them, think about how we can paraphrase them and synonymize them with the other words in the box.
Once again, thanks so much for coming today and viewing this video as part of our PTE academic series. We really hope that you got lots of useful information from this video and you'll use it going forward for your own PTE studies. There are many things that you can do in the meantime with Swoosh English in preparation for your PTE examination. The first thing you can do is you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have lots of extra content on there, other videos from other teachers, lots of information you guys can find. Hopefully you'll find it very useful. If you're on social media, you can like our Facebook page to get more news about upcoming PTE lessons and content, as well as find out a bit more information about Swoosh English, what we do and what we offer. Once you've used these two things, you can check us out on our website, which is www.swooshenglish.com. While you're on the website, we would really appreciate if you left us a message, as you can see indicated here by the red arrow. It could be a query, it could be a question, it could be a request, it could even be a friendly hello. That's all we want. We want to hear from you, our valuable students. So once again, thanks a lot for coming today. Have a great day and see you again as part of our PTE academic series. Take care. Bye.